What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Brock Lesnar slips and falls during his entrance, Penta's injury was real last night on Raw, Triple H has clapped back at a common WWE complaint, what happened after Raw, the reveal of the WWE teaser, who played Mini John Cena, a WWE ref wrestling, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now, as always, we're not going to recap the show, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good, as number one, star power galore. Now, one of the best things about Raw last night was that it was really heavy on the star power. Throughout the show, there were names such as Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, and Cody Rhodes. This gave the show a must-see feel and certainly elevated the importance of Survivor Series itself. Whilst the storylines that these names were actively involved in during the show weren't anything too groundbreaking, their presence alone gave the show a lot of value. Number 2, Gunther vs. Melo. And the match of the night for Raw was without a doubt Gunther vs. Carmelo Hayes. The two elite performers brought it in the John Cena tournament, and the match was booked perfectly, as Hayes looked the best he's ever looked since he joined the WWE main roster. Gunther is still the odds-on favorite to face Cena next month, and all signs are pointing towards the match being an absolute classic. And number 3, JD McDonough shines. And JD McDonough has been receiving a ton of television time as of late, and he's taking full advantage of it. JD had a fantastic match against the legendary Rey Mysterio, and he's slowly becoming one of the most consistent workers in the entire company. And that was good. What about the bad? Is number 1, is Vince back? A Triple H booked a segment that was so bad that fans were convinced that Vince McMahon had returned and is now writing for WWE Raw. During Dominic Mysterio's promo, he would be interrupted by a mini version of John Cena. This was played up for comedic value, and it was unfortunately one of the worst segments of the year. It was incredibly awkward as Wade Barrett laughed on commentary like McMahon was screaming in his ear to do so. Granted, due to Cena not being on the show, it was going to be difficult for Mysterio to build up Survivor Series, but was this really the best WWE could have come up with? We'll give him at least 1 point for having a mini Stu in there as well. That was legitimately funny. We basically had Stuception last night, as the real Stu was filming the mini Stu, who was then filming mini Cena. There was a lot of brain power in that creative room that came up with this. Number 2, losers rewarded. In a backstage segment on Raw, Adam Pearce announced that Raquel Rodriguez would get a shot at the women's world title. The issue with this is that she already had a shot and lost fairly and cleanly. Why is she being rewarded for losing? This actually makes no sense. Number 3, brawl galore. Raw wasn't exactly heavy on storyline development last night, as both War Games matches were mainly billed via mass brawls, which is perhaps a sign that WWE should look to revert back to traditional Survivor Series matches with stakes. The Usos vs Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre War Games Advantage match was decent, yet it was almost as if the crowd could sense the huge brawl that was inevitably going to ensue. There was also that really sloppy spot between Jey Uso and Logan Paul. Like, what the hell was going on here? And where is LA Knight? LA Knight not being involved in War Games still makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. LA has been feuding with the Vision for months, yet he is somehow no longer involved in the ongoing rivalry heading into War Games. Weirdly, LA was completely absent from Raw last night, and this certainly furthers the rumor that he's being actively held back in WWE. That was no downright ugly, but this was definitely a weaker edition of Raw this week. Triple H struggled with how to book the go-home show, and this was likely because he was put in a difficult position. SmackDown was already taped, so we couldn't deliver any huge angles on this show, as SmackDown spoilers were common knowledge. With that being said, there's still some buzz around Survivor Series this weekend, and hopefully the show delivers. What did you guys think of the Red Brand last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at Brock Lesnar slips and falls on Raw. Our top story today takes a look at last night's Raw, as a major botch occurred on the show. As former WWE Champion Brock Lesnar made his way to the ring, he somehow completely fell over. It was almost as if the positive momentum of his signature taunt got the best of him, and he took a really awkward tumble thanks to slipping on the ramp. Now, this is one of the funniest botches in recent memory, and Lesnar was no doubt extremely embarrassed. Now, Lesnar did manage to recover from the blunder extremely well, as he was able to continue his planned spot in the main event angle. Once Raw was over and Lesnar made his way to the backstage area, he hilariously played the botch off by kicking his foot against the part of the ramp where he fell. I mean, at least he took it in good spirits, right? But that wasn't the only botch on Raw last night, as Jey Uso and Logan Paul had a rather unfortunate botch during the main event matchup. Jey was seemingly trying to pick Logan up for a side slam, but there was a clear miscommunication. The two struggled to determine what spot they were actually delivering, and in the end, Jey dropped Logan in a heap. This isn't going to help the extensive criticism of Jay, as Jay's been called out extensively for botching throughout 2025. Next up, Penta is really injured. Now, unfortunately, Penta was injured on Raw last night. Penta wrestled Solo Sikoa in the John Cena tournament matchup, and when Penta performed a move off the barricade, he landed hard on his shoulder. The match was then immediately called off, and Sikoa would advance into the tournament, and he's now in the semi-finals. Sadly, it has been confirmed that this isn't an angle, and Penta's injury is totally legitimate. According to a new report from the Wrestling Observer Live, the talented star reportedly wanted to put his shoulder back into place during the match, but the medical team wouldn't allow it, and they called the match off after 4 minutes. It's also been reported by the Wrestling Observer Live that Sikoa was always supposed to win the match, which means that Sikoa vs Gunther in the next round was always planned. Just imagine if Solo gets to the final. Yeah, that ain't happening. Solo Sikoa looked legitimately concerned when Penta was injured. You could see it on his face right here. In fact, there were no jokes for Solo Sikoa tonight. Solo went off on a fan who heckled him, saying, "Shut your bitch ass up, F you." The fan must have said something really heated to Solo Sikoa for him to respond like that. Next up, Triple H claps back at a common WWE complaint. WWE has been heavily criticized in 2025 for failing to push new young talent, and Triple H has finally clapped back at these criticisms during a new interview with Complex. According to the head of WWE Creative, the field is wide open in terms of who can be a main event player in the company. The thing about this year is, and I think you'll see it in the WrestleMania commercials, the field is wide open between a Brock Lesnar, between Roman, Punk, Cody. Seth is on the shelf right now, but he factors into that. That's not even counting the new generations of the Bron Breakers, the Bronson Reeds, the younger guys that are up and coming. The game would add that the deep field on the roster means that WWE is going to be in a good shape for a long time to come. When people talk about the business now and they talk about where our talent are at, the top players are all in the top positions, and they're a bit older, but the thickness and the depth of what is underneath them is what I'm most excited about because the field is deep. This business is going to be in good shape for a long time. It's appreciated that the game has addressed these concerns, but it goes without saying that he needs to put this plan into motion, and the young talent need to be featured and pushed to be accepted as main event level attractions. It's crazy to think that the youngest person in this whole entire War Games match is Bron Breakker at 28. Everybody else is 30 or over. And it's been appreciated that the game has addressed these concerns, but it goes without saying that he needs to put this plan into motion, and the young talent need to be featured and pushed to be accepted as main event level attractions. Next up is a physical Hall of Fame incoming. And speaking of Triple H's interview with Complex, one of the topics he's discussed was the Hall of Fame. The WWE Hall of Fame often comes under fire as it's not actually a physical Hall of Fame, and fans have often questioned why WWE doesn't have a physical Hall of Fame that fans can visit. Interestingly, it appears that this is something that WWE, specifically Triple H, is finally considering. You know, people always ask us all the time about a brick-and-mortar Hall of Fame. That might still be something in the future, and this would be such a major step forward in terms of the credibility and legitimacy of the Hall of Fame concept, and it'd be a must-see attraction for WWE fans of all ages. Next up, what happened after Raw? Well, after Raw went off the air, WWE delivered a special treat to send the fans home happy. Just as the heels were about to attack the babyfaces in the ring, Brock Lesnar decided to pull his team back, meaning that Logan Paul was the only one who entered the ring and got a beat down for his troubles. Logan will be met with a finisher fest, including a GTS and a devastating spear. Logan sold the finishes amazingly well, and the fans in attendance love seeing one of WWE's top heels get his comeuppance. In fact, Reigns, CM Punk, and the Usos all made a toast to one of Logan Paul's prime drinks, and then poured the drink right over him. Yeah, that image has a different context when you cut out half of it. Next up, WWE teasing something huge. WWE social media pages are teasing something huge that is going to go down in 4 days. WWE social media accounts are posting snippets of the videos, including female WWE stars, before the video cuts and it says 4 days in the WrestleMania 42 font. Some believe that this will be the return of Liv Morgan, as it features a woman putting on a makeup. However, Liv Morgan is still currently injured. It's actually believed that this is going to be the commercial for the WrestleMania 42, featuring all the top women in WWE. It was reported last week that the women were filming in New York, and it's believed that the women involved include Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Liv Morgan, to name a few. This obviously confirms that Morgan will be back in time for WrestleMania, and as things stand, she's one of the favorites to win the Royal Rumble in January. But what's with the 4 days? Well, the 4-day element is important, as it turns out that single event tickets for WrestleMania go on sale in 4 days, meaning that the ad is being used to plug that specific ticket launch. It's unknown if WWE always planned to film a commercial for the women, but there was major backlash when the initial ad didn't feature any female stars at all. So if they took fan feedback on board, this is certainly appreciated. The second Mania commercial will officially debut on Thursday morning via WWE social channels such as X, Facebook, and Instagram. Next up, an Attitude Era tag team retiring, and the legendary tag team known as the Headbangers from the Attitude Era that were Mosh and Thrasher have now announced that they will retire next year, marking the end of a 33-year run. Their final match is actually confirmed for 23rd July 2026 at the ISPW Legends of Wrestling night in Wildwood, New Jersey. The Headbangers were most popular during the 90s, known for their unique style and headbanging to their own music. They actually captured the WWE Tag Championship at the In Your House Ground Zero pay-per-view in '97. However, when Thrasher suffered a serious knee injury, Marsh would then briefly compete under the controversial gimmick of Beaver Cleavage and later Chaz, the wife beater. Now, some may not know that they had a brief return in 2016 as part of the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship tournament, getting eliminated in the first round by Heath Slater and Rhino. Next up, who played Mini John Cena? And the Mini John Cena segment went down like a lead balloon on Raw last night, but the identity of the Cena impersonator has been revealed. According to fans on social media, the little version of Cena was Sikoa from Big Little Brawlers, Micro Championship Wrestling, and Micro Wrestling Federation, and his real name is Derek Pemberton. Despite the segment itself being heavily panned by fans, Pemberton did a solid job in the role, so he deserves credit for doing his best with the poor source material. And finally, a WWE ref wrestling. Our final story today takes a look at the possibility of a WWE referee wrestling. Throughout 2025, Jessica Carr had personal issues with Becky Lynch, and due to Carr being a wrestler, there's been speculation that Carr and Lynch could be building towards a match. Now we'll finally have an update on this, and it comes from Fightful Select's latest Q&A offering. According to Fightful, it doesn't appear to be planned, but Carr would absolutely be up for a match. I've heard nothing resembling that at all, but Jessica could absolutely do it. She worked a couple of matches this year on Evolve under a mask. It was her first in-ring match since 2017. She's only 34 and keeps herself in great shape and ready at all times. I don't think that's the route they're going, but I kinda hope that they do at least once. I could absolutely see Becky Lynch losing a shock match with a Calyx persona. Everything I know about Becky Lynch leads me to believe that she'd want that. Now, this would be such a fun angle and would definitely be a program that the fan base would be interested in seeing. But there you have it, folks, our look at Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.